We're on a journey in Zimbabwe to visit a place in the east where Shona people live. My brother Terry and I have been invited to this mountainous region where the extraordinary Chikukwa Project has been operating for 20 years. Hunger and malnutrition is still a problem in Africa. About half the children have stunted growth because of it. Zimbabwe has been no exception. Colonial governments took much of the land that the Chikukwa people used to own to use for forestry. On the land they had left, the Chikukwa people cut down the trees to make way for crop farming and cattle grazing. This land became severely eroded, unable to support crops. But the Chikukwa Project has turned the situation around for the 7,000 Shona people who live in the 6 Chikukwa villages. One key to the project's success has been permaculture, sustainable agriculture and settlement design. And also, unlike other projects in Africa, people here have not been told that the way out of hunger is to sell crops for a cash income. Instead, the project encourages them to produce more food for their own households. And now they have more than enough food for their needs. What we are seeing here is a conflict resolution workshop. Sam and Phineas, skilled members of the Chikukwa Conflict Transformation Team, are acting out the roles of the farmers in the conflict.
Okay.
The family at the top of this hillside is diverting water to their neighbours below. That water is causing a big gully in the middle of their neighbour's best maize field. They, in turn, are diverting water to their neighbours further down the hill. Those neighbours don't mind, and they don't want anyone to know. They're doing very well using the rich silt coming down from above. But the Permaculture Club hears of the problem and offers a conflict resolution workshop on the land of the farmers involved.
Kushata kweziko kunaka kweziko.
Taura iri.
Vari kushatirwa. Pedu pano.
Tiri kunatirwa.
Tarira uone.
Ndozvandinoti.
Ivhure sei.
Ndikasima banana apa.
Makambozviona zvakaita. Vakaisa danga. Dhuze chaipo negwenga. Manyowa acho. Aya.
Taura iri.
Waona. Isusuka. Musafa makati bufu kumakirafu kwemunoenda. Munondoti chete imwizi vanonga vechichema. Ivo vanochema isi tichifara. Vari kuisa fertilizer kumusoro. Right. Isusu takaisa masquirrels. Tikaisa mapitbulls. Matrenjezi waona.
Taura henyu.
Akomana. Right.
Vacho iwaya ndichisa apa pasikasvike guwa.
We'll come back to this later in the film and see how they try to find a way forward. In Chinmanimani, we first meet Ellie and Uli. Terry, who is talking to them here, studies sustainable farming, and he met them a year ago at a conference. They take us to stay at the Permaculture Centre, the headquarters of the Chikukwa Project. The area where the project works is called Chikukwa. The whole community of 6 villages is named after the chief of their clan, Chief Chikukwa. While we are staying as guests of the project, we are given rooms in the visitors' quarters in this very picturesque place, which is a model permaculture farm. They have visitors from all over Zimbabwe coming for training workshops in permaculture. The centre was built by the people of the Chikukwa clans. Like everything in this project, the decision to build this centre was a joint community decision. The gardens of the Chikukwa Centre are laid out according to a permaculture plan. Terraces and rock walls hold water as it comes down the slope. Fruit and nut trees form the backbone of the gardens. Nestled within these spaces, vegetables are fertilised with organic compost and manure. A mixture of plant species reduces pest attacks. Every day we are here, Chipo cooks for us, using food from the gardens of the Seluk Centre. To me, this community and this place is like paradise. The Seluk Project has constructed a channel to take some of this water to irrigate the cropping fields of the villages further downstream. This is the shopping centre for the 6 Chikukwa villages. All of the children in this community go to school. The farm of Chief Chikukwa. The chief supports the work of Seluk.
The development is very good here in Chikukwa because we know how to plow, we know how the seeds to sow, we know what to do.
The community wants us to make a film. We're sent to interview many farmers who can tell us how the project works. And we're invited to see what they are doing on their permaculture farms. These are only some of the farmers we visit. Mai Shumba talks about water use. Mai Maseketi and her husband tell us what they have learned from their permaculture training.
Yeah, she's saying we have also learned about plant diversity. That is, we plant different crops on the same piece of land, so that when this fails, we always get something from the other crop. And in that way, we are using a small piece of land, but getting different things from that piece of land at the same time.
After we had been in the Chikukwa villages for more than a week, we were invited to visit further afield, where the ideas pioneered by Seluk are being spread by the Suro organisation. This organisation is working for the whole of the Chinmanimani district, an area as big as a small state. This family further out has a dryland farm, terraced with rock walls to hold the water and prevent erosion. This farmer says he has learned a lot about composting and farming in general from the permaculture workshops.
Pangwa ima compost ndakanga nda join permaculture ndiyo yakandidzidzisa nyaya dzema compost.
He also, as many farmers do here, keeps fish for food.
Saka parizino pabasa irori ndinoita nevana vangu nemudzimai.
Tikana tiri pano pamba hatisarudziki mukomana kana kuti musikana, dzese tinongoita nongoshanda zvakafanana.
Penda kuna mama maya.
This farmer also learned a lot from permaculture workshops. His yields have improved and now he can afford to sell some food to get money as well as to feed his family.
Zitori nemufaro wakanyanya. Tikutofara zvakanyanya neruzivo rwetaidzidziswa. Takadzidziswa futi kuwedzera futi ipapo takadzidziswa nezvemarketing kuti michero yedu munofanira kuitengesa makadai kuti muone mari iri pamusoro. Zviri kutofadza zvakanyanya. Tiri kutodakara kana even nemhuri dziri kuti dzisaiwana dzakuwana kubudikidza ngedzidziso yedu.
He's particularly proud of this fence, which was a prize one year for having the best permaculture farm.
iri paapo.
He also grows trees for himself and for others to use.
Kange yadai so much yapa stage yekuti yakuda kubatwa kana kugrafta.
Nelson Jomo and his wives, Jessica and Joyce, have also done well with advice from the Suro organisation that is spreading the message from Chikukwa. Jessica says she wants her children to grow up as farmers so that they will always have food to eat. Terry is fascinated by what these farmers are doing on their land, the permaculture techniques they use and the plants they grow.
When we started to grow trees, we studied it.
You need shade. So yeah, so this is quick growing, isn't it? Quick growing. And for shade.
This community has seen malnutrition and illness in leaner times.
Saka takatanga garden rineri 2003 tichiedza kuti tiitewo nutrition garden nekuti vana vedu vatinozvara muno vanga vasina utano hwakanaka.
This group all work in a community garden. They all have different plots, but they work it together. These projects have eliminated malnutrition for these people and saved their children from a hungry future. Permaculture has improved all of their lives. Now we visit the home and farm of Julius Petey. He was one of the founding members of Selukt, the Chikukwa Project. In the last few years he has moved on to work with Suro to spread these ideas further. And he has a lot to say about why the Chikukwa Project works.
Everything that you see in Chikukwa is owned by the people. And that's why if there is a problem, people always try to find another answer to solve that one and make it really sustainable.
He has become a very experienced permaculture designer.
The legume is having a multiple function. It is providing a trellis for the passion fruit. And at the same time, it gives a lot of nutrition to the soil and also good shade around the house. You see it's planted just adjacent to the house. And it's also beautiful to look at it. Yeah, and when we have got plenty of them, we can use them for firewood or for any other sticks that we need for supporting other fruit trees around. Yeah, they are quite multiple function.
He sees permaculture as a solution for the whole world.
Very good. Permaculture is a system of living for me, which takes in concrete sense to natural resource and everything that surrounds us living in harmony with no unbeneficial conflicts. And for socially, you will make peace at the end of the day. It's like a peace project. You will find all the links. When you apply the permaculture principles, you see the principle, they link the whole community, plant community, people, human, whatever, insects, they are linked. And everything will live in harmony and produce enough for each other. That way, you also promote water cycle and even the oxygen that we breathe. And then even the ozone layer can be reduced. It actually solves all the problems that we face in human life. So it's considered to be the right approach for us to live on Earth if you want to save the Earth.
Ellie and Ollie live here. As two of the founders, they give us a long interview. Their story starts with this spring, which brings water to their house. This is how the spring looks now, surrounded by a lush indigenous forest, running with water. In the early 90s, it wasn't so reliable.
We are at exactly this spot, I think, for 26 years now. And the first years, we were very happy having our spring functioning, had all our water coming from up there, the spring, and had a pipe coming down here. And the water got less and less and less, till one day there was really no water in the pipe anymore, and we went up to the spring. The spring was empty. The neighbors and us on our mountain here, which is the Royal Mountain, the Royal Chikukwa family living here, we were all quite upset and started thinking of what are we going to do, because we had to get the water from down there. And we started with our neighbors to work at the spring. So our chief did some traditional rituals with snuff and talking to the spirits. We arranged some rocks and even tried to fence it off because of the cattle, and actually we were digging down and we got another little trickle. But after the very first rain, it was silted again. We've realized that we have to work on the top, but we didn't really know how to do it. So we've asked for so-called specialist advice. It was a little permaculture center which started at that time in Harare, Fambitsanai, with our friend John Wilson, whom we knew because he was headmaster in a neighboring school here in Chimanimani. So we came up together with some ideas and started together with the community to have a little introduction into permaculture with focus on how to deal with resources, the natural resources, meaning also the water that was drying up. So that's how it started. That was 91.
Seeing is believing. Much of it happened through home to home. The home to home exchange was the main tool in the beginning, and then there were other things like learning together. People called it Permachikoro, Permaculture School, which happened once a month, and it was basically farmer-to-farmer training. So you had people who were experienced in a certain thing like herbs or grafting fruit trees or natural pest control or whatever, and they would take that knowledge to the community and then teach and learn together. And that's how it spread. But the demand came very quickly within Chikukwa. I mean, there was so visible success after a short time, really, that it was just convincing.
So me, my bee, and 4 other youngsters, we decided to do something, and we took the hose on our shoulders and walked up into the mountains and worked with the people, digging swales, working at the springs. And by doing that, people got so motivated and just kind of came along as well.
This is one of the many groups that have sprung up since this project began. They're keeping the old Shona culture alive. The young people who started this group see a link between permaculture and their ancestral traditions. Here we meet the leaders of the many groups which make the Chikukwa Project so successful. All meetings begin with songs and prayers. There are different committees, some to promote permaculture and train people in it, some to keep the history, to prevent AIDS and to help survivors, some to stop violence against women, to promote nutrition, to keep the old culture and deal with conflicts.
We honorably react to a request. Yeah. We don't necessarily initiate.
And here we are again at the conflict resolution workshop. Both groups want to cross the river, but they are stuck, facing each other on a narrow bridge. One group will have to give way. The permaculture solution for our original problem, the gully caused by runoff, is to build small rock walls and vetiver grass swales to slow the water through the gully, which will be planted with native fruit trees.
neuko kusaidzi uko ngaiwedzerwe futi kusimwa.
The Chikukwa Project has already begun to export its ideas through Suro and through its training programs. It needs to spread its word further in Zimbabwe, in Africa, and indeed the world. Thank you very much.
Ma